the MXR carbon copy analog delay. This is a super fun pedal, even more fun than the chorus and the boost pedals. There's loads of great stuff you can do with delay pedals. I've set up so that I can try and just, rather than demonstrate the quality of this particular pedal, I want to try and explain how delay pedals work using this as an example. So that's why if you can see, that's why my dials are set to very extreme settings to begin with. Now, with a delay effect, what that's doing is adding a very distinct echo to your sound, or possibly a very distinct echo depending on how you set it up. I've set it up to begin with so that you can hear it really clearly how distinctive it can be if you want it to be that way. So without the effect engaged at this moment, I'm going to play, for the purpose of this, I'm going to play some sharp, short notes so that you can hear the delays really effectively. So I'm just going to pick one of my strings, or D string, so I can pick it and kill it, and that's all you hear. Now, once I engage the delay pedal, what that will do is create an echo of whatever I play. So let's switch it on now and just play that same note. I'm only playing one note. The delay pedal is creating the echo that makes the other note. Now, in terms of the settings, why I've started off with the settings this way, you probably wouldn't really normally use it this way, or you might do, depends on how you want it to sound. The actual, in terms of the delay, the second note, the magic note, there's a few things to consider. The speed of the delay is set to a maximum time at the minute. Might be a bit confusing. So I've set my delay to maximum, and that means the time between my note being played and the other note is the longest it can be. So I can't have the delay any longer than that. I can turn it down and make the delay faster. But that's the maximum that I can have it, so that's the longest I can have between the delays. The knob next to it, this is called regen. It's sometimes called other things on other pedals. Now, what that does is determine how many echoes that we have. So at the minute, that's on the minimum setting, so I'm only going to get one echo when I play the note. If I turn that up, I'll get more echoes. Depending on how many times you want the note to echo. So that's what that knob basically does. Now, the final knob, it's called mix on here, that governs how loud your echoes are compared to your original note. Now at the minute, I've got it set on maximum so that when I play a note, the echo note is more or less the same volume as the note that I've played. Unless you're going for some kind of special effects, particular sound, most often you probably would not use that level of mix for the delay. Normally it'd be a little bit less. Certainly when you add more delays using the regen, and particularly speed it up a little bit, you might want to back down the volume of those delays. So they taper off rather than staying at the same volume. It's totally up to you, it totally depends on you know, the sound that you're going for and the effect you're trying to achieve. If you've got these things maxed out with the most amount of delays and the maximum volume, sometimes you can get a kind of a feedback loop going. So if we put it back to maximum volume, loads of delays. And I'm not doing anything now, but it gets carried away with itself and can start sounding horrible really quickly. So as usual, the maximum effects on the pedal aren't always the best ones to go for. So what I typically do is I back the volume off a little bit with the regen, maybe start at 12 o'clock for, maybe let's start with 12 o'clock for all of them. So I've got as my starting point, so I can speed that up, slow it down, I can add more echoes, or I can make the echoes louder. But you're normally in a decent place, so whether you're playing it. Doesn't sound as much on ringing out chords, but if you play short or arpeggios, you can get a really cool, if you like that sort of thing, effect going on there. So just by messing around with the knobs, finding what works for you, you can get the sound that you want. Why would you use it? As I've just demonstrated, for those chord arpeggios type of things, that's maybe some type of sound that you want to go for. And have a cool little echoey type thing going on there. You might also want to use it for lead guitar. That's where I typically use it for. Don't know if I quite have it set up that way, but let's give it a go. More of a dirty sound. Let's back the volume down again. It's just a little bit loud there. Probably speed it up a little bit. A little bit less, bit more subtle. Still a bit too much for me. Back that down. Still a bit too much regen for me. So less is more the way that I choose to use it. It's totally up to you. Without the effect. Gives you a lot more punch, a lot more drama when you're playing a little bit of lead guitar. Very basic little thing I did there, that's really not proper lead guitar, but just to give you an example. So delay, I tend to use it very sparingly and not too much of it. There's other types of players I've mentioned before when I was talking about these pedals. A great example is the Edge from U2, who uses these type of things to create really amazing special effects. But as with any pedal, have a play with it, see how it works for you. Again, this is going just straight through my guitar to the pedal to the amp. There's nothing else taking place here. This will probably go in my effects loop when I set it up, but I just wanted to keep it simple for now. So that's your delay pedal. You can normally adjust how fast the delays are, how many of them there are, and how loud they are compared to your normal sound. There's a little feature on there called mod, which stands for modulation. I wasn't sure what that meant when I first got the pedal, but what that does, if set these up a little bit more clear again, adds a little bit of the chorus effect that I spoke about in my previous video, so gives it a little bit more extra polish on the sound. Put the mod on. A little bit more shimmery. As opposed to the basic delay on its own. So that's a tiny little switch, so I can't use that with my foot, so I'll have to decide sort of, you know, in between songs or whenever I can, whether I want to use that for a particular song or a particular sound or not. I've got the chorus pedal anyway, so I can use that with my feet, but it's great to be able to have this built into the delay pedal on this MXR. It's I'd normally use delay and chorus together for most things that I would normally use these for, so it's brilliant to be able to have that built in as well. So I could perhaps use that as my chorus with the delay for my lead guitar sounds, let's say, and I could have my chorus pedal set up differently for playing chords, arpeggios and rhythms, so just extra flexibility. So really great pedal, and visually it's the most beautiful one out of the the ones that I've got. I love that sparkling metallic green colour on it, and for that reason alone, I'm sure that I will enjoy using it.